I'm excited for that. I'm so excited. Okay. Anyway. So if you couldn't tell by the title, we're gonna be talking about K-dramas today. And if you don't know me as a person, then you probably don't know that I tend to ramble about things I'm passionate about. And let me tell you, I am extremely passionate about K-dramas. Recently, I actually haven't had as much time to just sit down and really binge some K-dramas / I also watch C-dramas, just gonna put that out there. Today's gonna be about K-dramas, but I do watch C-dramas as well. So I thought, since I don't have time to watch K-dramas, I might as well make videos on K-dramas. And since the theme of this, you know, Christmas series is Christmas / winter, cold weather, all things to do with that, I thought it'd be a cool idea to do my list of personal choices I would recommend to people if you want to get into K-dramas and you wanted some to watch during the wintertime, because I feel like a good K-drama with a nice cup of like hot chocolate or like hot tea, superb. So I'm gonna be talking about that today. Here are my choices for the top K-dramas you should watch during the wintertime. Also, a little side note, these are really not in any particular order. I will say the last one I'm gonna mention is kind of like probably the top tier one, just because I think it is truly like kind of like a cold weather winter vibe show. The rest of them are kind of don't really have winter themes. They're just kind of cozy ones that I would say are really cute to watch during winter time. But the last one is definitely a winter theme type thing. So stay tuned for that one. So first one up is Cinderella and the Four Knights, and I should first say that I'm not gonna go into crazy detail about these shows. I'm gonna ramble a little bit about each one, but I don't want to spoil the show just because I feel like that defeats the whole purpose. I really encourage you guys, if you have never watched a foreign show, to go watch them. Like, they're, I think, one of my favorite things to do now. Even if it's not a K-drama, I watch Chinese shows, I watch Taiwanese shows, like anything foreign I try to watch at least, you know, one movie or show, because I think it's kind of a fun experience. But yes, back to the matter at hand. Cinderella and the Four Knights. This show should be called Cinderella and the Three Knights. I don't know where they got the number 4. There are 4 guys in the show, but only 3 of them are love interests. And keep in mind that I haven't watched these in a long time, so these might be butchered descriptions, but it's about a girl who she meets these 3 like rich guys, and she has to go live in their house with them and basically try to get them to get along, which is a tough task. Just being as though they're all kind of, some of them are arrogant, some of them are just like have pride, like that they just don't want to interact with each other. It's kind of a fun little show, I will say. But yeah, that one's Cinderella and the Four Knights if you want to find that. Also, my K-drama site is up here. It probably looks like a sponsorship. It is not. This is the site I watch dramas on. Most of these, if not all of these, are going to be on Viki, which is the site I use. I think one of these is actually on Netflix, so I'll mention that when it comes up, but for the most part, they're all on Viki. Next one, Melting Me Softly. I think this one's probably got one of the most interesting plots of a drama I've watched, which is saying a lot because I've watched a lot of dramas, so, you know, there's that. But Melting Me Softly is about a guy who he's a TV producer, but he also does kind of like fun experiments to keep his shows and stuff that he produces really interesting. Basically, he has this idea where he wants to cryogenically freeze himself to show that it would work in the long run. So he wants to just do it for a day, or I think it's a day is what he says, or maybe 12 hours. I'm not too sure. I don't really remember. But he's like, I want to do it for a day. But in order to prove it actually works, he has to also get a female participant, enter the female main character. He offers her a lot of money just to cryogenically freeze for, you know, I think it's like 12 to 24 hours. She reluctantly agrees, but turns out there's something wrong with the experiment, and they are locked in there for 20 years, and they have not changed because they've been cryogenically frozen. Everyone in their lives, all their loved ones, the society as a whole has fast-forwarded 20 years while they're still stuck as their same selves and haven't aged. They don't know about the new technology. It's kind of just a really interesting look at what it would be like if someone from our present day would just like jump forward. Or like even say like someone from like the 1960s, they didn't have like, you know, the line, they didn't just keep going forward, they just jumped to like the 1980s, or someone from the 1980s jumped to the 2000s. Like, it's just a really, really interesting look at that, so I highly recommend this one. Next one is the Netflix one, which is Crash Landing on You. Again, none of these are really Christmas themed. This one I thought was just a really nice one. I really enjoyed it at the time. I will say it kind of took me a while to finish because if stuff's really good, I tend to watch it, and then like towards the last like 3 episodes, I'm like, all right, I can't watch this. I cannot finish this show because then it'll be over. I ended up finishing it though, obviously. It was really good. I have been told that it's very inaccurate, which I think makes sense because it is about South Korean woman who has this big accident. She goes over to the North Korean border. She is stuck. She's found by North Korean soldiers, but in a weird twist of events, she is kind of befriends some of the soldiers and eventually falls in love with one of them. And it's the whole thing, but I would really recommend it. It's really cute. Again, very inaccurate, but nice. Next one is actually probably my favorite one that I've watched within the past, I think it's been like 3 months since I watched it. It's called Where Stars Land. It's basically an inside look about just like life in an airport, or a person who works at an airport. And I will say, I don't know if this one is accurate. I don't know if any of these are accurate to what they're talking about and discussing, but this one is about a guy and a girl. The girl is very, she always fails at her job, and she's very short-tempered person, but she gets hired at a different part of the airport, and she meets up with this guy who, she doesn't realize it, but he recognizes her, she doesn't recognize him. They just kind of have this unique relationship. The next one is what I consider to be one of the big five, and if you don't know what the big five is, basically, you might have seen it in my Christmas tree video when I was setting up the Christmas tree, but I have K-dramas on my bookshelf, and there are 5 of them. These are the big 5. Basically, the big 5 is just the 5 shows that I either watched first, or I have like a super sentimental value weird thing with them. But yeah, it's one of the big 5, called I'm Not a Robot. It's about a guy who has an allergy to humans, I guess is the most simple way to put it. He basically cannot come in contact with humans, or else he has like a really bad, severe allergic reaction, which can kill him within minutes. So he is contacted by this AI developing technology company, but he's contacted by this company and they say, hey man, we understand you have this life-threatening illness where you can't be in contact with humans, so we made a really realistic robot, and she could be all yours, man. She could be like your little personal assistant, so you feel like you have someone to talk to. And he is kind of reluctant, but he's like, that sounds kind of neat. He invites the robot to come to his house as like for like a trial period to see how it would work. And right before the robot goes over to his place, it actually malfunctions. So the doctor, the scientist who developed the robot, modeled it off of his ex-girlfriend. So his ex-girlfriend, he contacts her and he's like, hey, I just broke this robot. Can you pretend to be this robot for a little bit? And just like, don't come in contact with him, but like, just pretend to be the robot and until we fix it, because we need to get a part from this other country and like, it's gonna take a while. So she agrees for a lot of money, and it just basically is an interaction between this guy who has no idea that she's an actual person, and it's really nice. I will say it gets kind of weird because there's just like this whole plot where he's just like freaking out because he fell in love with a robot, and so he's like, this is really weird, I'm having like feelings, emotional like relationship feelings for a robot, and then it's like, she's not actually a robot to us. So to us, the viewer, or we're like, that's not that weird, but at the same time, if you think about it from his perspective, that is super weird. Anyway, that one's really good. Again, one of the big 5. I really think you should watch this one. It is a little bit longer. I think it's 32 episodes, but the episodes are shorter. They're only like 30 to 40 minutes, so you can really digest this one really easy. 32 episode ones with 30-minute episodes are really good, really good, because you could just kind of, oh man, I have like a break before I have to go to my other job, so you just put on one episode, watch it really quick, and then go. It's really nice though, so check that out. The final one I wanted to mention is called I Will Go To When the Weather is Nice. I'm not sure if that's an exact translation. That is what the website told me is the name, so I'm just gonna go with it. I think this one is probably the perfect show to watch during the wintertime, just because I feel like it's a really cozy show, and that sounds weird. It's just something that makes you feel kind of warm when you watch it. It's very sweet, it's very emotional, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens. This was one that kind of, it felt slow to me to watch. I was like, oh, this is such a slow plot, but it really keeps you at the edge of your seat at the same time. So it's really weird. It's a mixed emotion show, I will say, for sure. But it's really good, so I would recommend it. It takes place between, like, you know, the winter time. So the whole idea is, it's this girl, she's a celloist, or a cellist? Celloist? She plays the cello. She decides to go to her hometown for a little bit so she can get away from the big city, and she meets up with this guy from her childhood who he is now a small bookstore owner in this like small town, and it's really, again, it's just really cute. There's a lot of cute interactions. The main actors are amazing. I don't know, I just think this one is like so perfect. When I thought about making a video about K-dramas in the wintertime, this is the first one I thought of, because I was like, this is so perfect for it, you know? But yes, watch this one. If you can only watch one of these, or if you're like, I'm not sure, definitely watch this one for wintertime. It is super cute, and it's probably one of my favorites as well. so check that out. I just wanted to kind of sit down and talk about K-dramas for a minute. I think it's probably because I talk so fast when I'm talking about stuff I like. Again, the rambling in me, I just like spit out information as fast as I can, and sometimes it doesn't work the best. But hopefully you did enjoy. Plenty more videos to come. I'm sure if you're like, I don't like K-dramas, I don't want to listen to you talk about this, there will be more videos for you, trust me. I think there's only 2 videos that I'll be rambling about K-dramas, and then there's one later on that's gonna be about K-pop, so if you don't like those things, that's okay. I've just been filming videos non-stop today, and I went to work as well, so I'm very tired. It's been a long day, but it'll be worth it, hopefully. So again, hopefully you did enjoy. I'll see you next time.